episode of Gemischter H4ck. This is episode 104, and today's topic will be the machine, the planet's Mercury. We've already done a machine from that series. This is the previous machine, and it's also very fun. It's a little easier than the previous one, so let's do this. Okay, we first start up our console here. We will do an nmap scan, determine the IP address. So I know my machine has the 15, and so it's the 10025, which is our target machine here. So let's do an extended scan on that machine and see what's coming up. All right, here's the results. So try to fingerprint that service, which is obviously not successful. But we can check this on our own. So it is port 22 open, SSH, and 8080. So let's see what we get when we open that in the browser. So it's 10.0.25.88. So we can see that says hello, is currently in development, please check back later. If we have a look at the page source, there's nothing. So what I did first, I tried to add a directory. I tried admin, and this gives me a 404 page. And if you look carefully at this here, we are lucky this is in debug mode, so this is pretty good for us here. So obviously this is Django, and it tried to match these URL patterns to these rules here. The file is index, so this is the file we just saw. There's a file called robots.txt. We can try that. But it doesn't give us any more information. So if we go back to the page, what's interesting to us is this one here. It's Mercury facts. So we add that as a directory, and then we can see that we have a page here. There's also nothing special in the source code of that page. We have 2 points here. We have Mercury facts. As you can see, we have fact ID 1, which is shown here, and we have a website to-do list. Add CSS, implement authentication. So it's obvious that there's some authentication missing, and use models in Django instead of direct MySQL call. So we can assume that there's direct call to MySQL database. Okay, but how will we find out? What I did here is when I tried that page, you can see that there's a number here, and I tried several numbers, and it obviously gets you facts from Mercury. And if you try that on like something like 10, for example, this is empty, so there's obviously no more information on that. So I tried to because I thought there is probably a folder or a login or something like that. I tried also again admin, and we are lucky because we have the complete error message, including a traceback. And what's pretty interesting to us is that we can see there's an unknown column admin in the work clause. So that means that this piece here is obviously part of an SQL query. And if we scroll down here, we can see which query that is. So we see select fact from where ID is admin. So this fails. What we could do here is we could directly go and try the following. We could end that clause down here, that statement, select fact from facts where ID is, and this is the injection here where ID is equal to ID. Then we'll end the statement, and as you see here, I already did that. You put another select statement right behind, and if you call that, you will get the information here from this facts. So this is all the facts with the numbers. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. Okay, so if you're good at SQL injection and hacking, things like that on your own manually, you can do that by entering your code here. I'm not that good in that, so what I did here was I go back to my terminal here. I used the tool sqlmap, and as you can see here, let's open the help file for that. So it has a lot of options, and this is really a great tool. So it's let's say fully automated SQL injection attacks against the database, and you can get lots of information from that. On the first, you're good to go when you call the A parameter, which will run a lot of tests, and it will dump everything down to your computer, but it will take a long time. If you have that time, just go ahead with all, so you will receive every table and everything in the database if it works, obviously. But I can tell you this will work here. So let's take this working URL with a 1 and put it in our. Let's close this down here. I will split that window so you can see what we are going to do. So we run sqlmap, and at first want to get an information on the tables we have here. So we have the URL supplied, the Mercury facts. Since there is no like post information or something, we don't need to supply anything else. If you have parameters, data parameters, you could set them here with a data parameter. So if you have an ID or something like that, which could be used for SQL injection, then you could set it up here. Okay, let's try it that way and see what we get. I already ran this, so it's hopefully a little faster right now because it's taking some time otherwise. Okay, so you can see here, let me make it a little larger. So we can see here we got all tables which are included in the MySQL information schema, which is 78 tables, and all these tables would have been downloaded if we have set the A parameter, which is fine, but it's pretty unnecessary because we are only interested in that database here, and we are probably interested in the table users. So what we do here right now is let's use, let's put this down again. we use the parameter t, or let's say the parameter d here, to set up or to set the database to Mercury and set the table with -t to users, and then say dump, because we dumped all entries from that user table. Okay, if we run that, so it's asking us questions. You can automate that or you can skip that. Setting a parameter, I don't know this right now. So as we can see via SQL injection, so this is the injection code here. So this was the MySQL command that was used to get the information. You could try this in the browser and you would get probably the same, but not as nice as this. So we have 4 users here. So what's most interesting to us is obviously the webmaster here. So let's see and try if we can use it in the SSH. So use SSH webmaster, and now it's asking for password. We'll copy that. And paste that. And we are in the system. And let's see where we are. It's home webmaster, and there's the user flag. So nice, we got the first user flag. So let's see what else we can do. I can tell you we cannot do a lot of things with that user. So we have 2 other users. It's Linux master and Mercury. But if we go back to the Mercury project directory, oh no, I cannot access that, of course. I'm the webmaster. So if we have a look at that, this is simply the contents of the Django server here. Here's the DB file, and we have a file called notes.txt, and we have a look at that. We will see that we have 2 project accounts. A webmaster for web stuff, which is the account we're using right now. And since we know the password of that, we can check if, and this is what I assume, that this is the base 64 representation of that password. So if we do echo and push this through base 64. Oh no, need to run this with decode. Let's take this string, or let's take. I see that I did that completely wrong. We need to have this. And run this through base 64. Yeah. That's correct. And then we can see that this is the representation of this. So we know that this one here was probably also encoded using base 64. So let's copy that. And yeah, now we have decoded that. So Mercury mean diameter is 4,880 kilometers. So let's try this out. This is obviously password for that user. So to go back to that machine here, and let's try su. What was it called? Linux master. It's requesting a password, so let's try that out. And that worked. What we can do now here is, and this doesn't work with a webmaster, try if we can execute any commands using sudo. And we can see that we are allowed to run that command with root privileges. So at first, let's see what we can do with that script here, what that script does. So it's simply calling tail and it's outputting the last 10 lines of the syslog. All right. Let's check the permissions of that file. So okay, it's root. We can just read it. We cannot write it. So we need to use a little trick. So this script will call tail, the tail command, but there is no path to tail. So we need to trick the script to use the tail command that we give it. So let's go first to our home directory. And let's remove that. So you may get an idea what I want to do. So at first, I will create a symbolic link, which will be my tail executable, or which will tell the script that's the tail executable to call. So what we'll do here is we will do a symbolic link, and I will use nano in that case, which will be called instead of tail. And from nano, this will be started then with root privileges. And from that nano, we can spawn as a shell. And therefore, we need to link that tail command to nano, which is usually in user bin nano. And we will link that to a file called tail. Why didn't that work? Oh, oh yeah, should use ln instead of ls, then it should work. Okay, yeah. You can see we have tail here now. If I call that tail from that directory, it will open a nano. All right, now we need to tell the script to look for the executable in this directory. And so we add this directory simply to the path environment variable. And we do this by saying export path, and we will have our current directory, which we want to add to everything which is already included in the, no, need to do it that way, which is already included in the path variable. So I already did that, I do it again. So let's see. Okay, I should have done that before, but so you don't see the difference, but let's check this. So you can see when we call an executable or binary here, we will first have a look at this directory, then have a look at this directory, have a look at this directory, and so on. And this will help us. And in order to make the sudo command honor this, we will say, or we will give it an additional parameter, which is preserve environment. So if we do sudo, then preserve environment, and then give it our path, which is this one here, and then call the user bin check syslog. We end up in a nano. So now this nano is equipped with root privileges. So the only thing we need to find out now is how to spawn a shell from nano. So we go to GTFO bins, to nano. So let's get it rx. We will copy that command. So let's go rx, the command to execute. Then we'll paste it here. Executing, and we can see that here is a little dash. So let's see. And as you can see, we are root. So probably can make it a little nicer and call bash. Yeah, and clear. So we've gained root privileges, and now we are good to go, and we can hopefully access the root flag. So let's cut the root flag from, this is probably in the root directory. So it's root, and there's root flag, and we did it. A very nice machine, and yeah, was pretty good. And it was very nice. The sqlmap worked that well. So yeah, very nice. Thank you very much for for viewing that video. And if you like it, leave me a like and subscribe to the channel. See you next time. Hope you had fun. See you soon. Bye bye.